Confidence from the Missouri Public Service Commission. Sorry I couldn't take your call, but if you could leave your name, phone number, and a brief message, I will get back to you as soon as I can. Take care.
At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hey, John Miller here, 816-446-6358. I have an active formal complaint online and investigation, and I'd like to get some information about that if you could call me back. 816-446-6358. It is 8/14/2025 at 3:50 p.m. Central Time. Thanks. Try another one. I think these are the lawyers for the...
Hi, this is Mark.
Hey, Mark, how's it going, buddy?
Good. What can I do for you?
I got your number off of I've got a formal complaint online, and you're with the PSC?
No, I'm with the Office of Public Counsel.
Oh, you are? Well, I tell you, we've got a really big situation over here, so I don't know if... I've already had correspondence with Kleiser about my case.
Yeah, he's I don't really know anything about your case. He is handling that case for our office.
Yeah, well, we've had a big data breach with the company Aspire, so through the investigation of the EFIS system. So I wanted to make you guys aware of that.
Okay. Did you let
I have made public...
Supervisor know?
I haven't... No, he it's funny because last week or 2 weeks ago he told me they would be overlooking it, but they found my original complaint was isolated. But since then, I've made a bunch of formal complaints showing all this information. So I haven't... Do you think I should write him another email or something?
Well, if there's things that you filed in the docket, he will see all that. He's probably seen everything that you...
Oh.
Are you saying you submitted things into the case file?
Yeah, are you aware that the data request responses are not sending out notifications for the EFIS system to all parties?
Yeah, they don't usually do that. Like you're saying, like if you submit DRs to the company, those don't go through the EFIS system. But if you submit them to the commission staff, those do go through the EFIS system. But there's no notice that gets generated for anybody.
Well, well, what I'm suggesting is...
You either look on EFIS to see what the staff has submitted, or, which I don't even know if you would have access to that, or you need to send a DR to the entity you're wanting to know what data request they've sent or responded to, and you can send a data request to them asking for those things.
Yeah, it was my understanding if the commission puts in a data request that all parties get notified of the responses.
No, it's never worked like that. You have to specifically ask.
Yeah, that's what I noticed. Well, the issue was, how would I know to ask about the responses if there was information in the responses unless you babysit the website, you know? I only know if I get a main filing. That's the only way I get notified. So it ended up happening was they sent their evidence, they sent the data requests, responses over to the PSC, and I had no idea that evidence the PSC already had for like 3 weeks. So that's why...
That's them conducting their investigation, yeah, but if you send a DR to the company saying, provide us with all responses that you've already provided and that you provide in the future to any data request sent to you, then they will be obligated to send those to you.
Nice. I appreciate it. And then I had the data breach is a real big issue because Aspire's attorneys sent me another investigation's DR2 request confidential files with all their company recorded phone calls and confidential data and social security number, bank card information, and all this stuff. So I have filed.
Yeah, Mr. Kleiser did tell me about that. Yeah, that's a big mistake.
Yeah. So, and
You know,
what do you guys think about that one?
well, I mean, it's certainly something we're going to keep our eye on. If it's just a one-off, then it's probably not, anything to really be concerned with. But if it's like there's a pattern of this happening, then it certainly is something that, yeah, needs to be dealt with.
Well, my concern is Kleitzer just said he found it to be a one-off. We can't have 30 one-offs, or you have a huge systemic issue. That's the case I'm proving. So, you know what I mean? Like,
You mean there was 30 data breaches, you're saying?
no, what I'm saying is it's 30 different issues. Not exactly 30, but it's a data breach. They didn't file this with the other proceeding. So they're withholding and concealing. They're disregarding the whole process. They filed something saying, "Shoot, we had a data breach." They filed that on my case, and then said they were going to send a letter off the system, to the parties that were breached. And then I looked up their case, and it doesn't show. So what my point is, they filed something on my case, and basically said they were sorry, and it was a one-off. But then they didn't even file it on the other case, so they're not showing the other judge. They're hiding it from the other case altogether, and so that's where these things.
I don't know if I don't know if that would be relevant to that other case, but I certainly hope that they've notified the other
Any breach of the EFIS,
complainant.
well, any breach of the EFIS system is a violation, right?
I'm not sure what breach of the ethos you're saying to. I mean, there's no.
If a company,
Provided information.
well, they did it with Kiteworks, is what happened. So it was off
Yeah,
platform.
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, it's a big file sharing platform, and that was the whole reason why I want notified of DR responses through the.
Well, yeah, you'll need to do that on your own. Yeah, we don't do
Well,
those for complainants.
I think we all,
Like I
but
said,
I
that
think
is
we,
something you can do through a DR.
yeah, I think we have a right to all filings though, and responses are filings. And so if they enter something through the EFIS system that goes to the PSC, it should definitely be notifying me through the EFIS system, right?
No, those are not filings to the commission. Like the commission that doesn't go to the commissioners themselves. So they're not. It's not like it's anything that's you know
But it's illegal.
impacting their decision making. It's only if the staff then takes that data and puts it into something that they filed, that then the commission would have an opportunity to weigh in on it or weigh in the case.
Oh, okay.
So the EFIS, like the data requests in EFIS are more just like a file for just to preserve the stuff that goes to the staff. And just, so then the parties can access it there if they want to look for it. But it's not like evidence in the case until it's been, put into a filing.
So how's,
It's not within the data request files.
yeah, no, yeah, it does, but I still think these are legal filings. I think this is a legal platform, isn't it?
Well, I guess it depends on how you define legal filings. I mean, I think of it as, pleadings and things that are in the case record docket that, is that the commission considers when they're deciding a case. The separate data request files are not, I would not call them legal
They're
filings
just
in the case.
they're discoveries, which is a legal term, and
It's
it's,
discovered, right?
you know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, just, it doesn't become part of the case until somebody uses the discovery, because a lot of the discovery, most of it can be just entirely useless and not, relevant. Depends on, what you ask or how you ask it. And so it's, I think it would really bog down some of these records if everything was just put into there. So, I think the parties that get the discovery then can glean through it and put in the things that are relevant to the case.
Yeah, and so how does this?
I mean, some of these cases, you're thinking, we only have 500 data requests, so there's bigger rate cases that, yeah, it would really be a problem if all those were going into the case file because they may not even be relevant to the case.
Well, the issue is if you've got an 81-year-old person that doesn't know how to use technology very good, you know what I mean, and they send them a case of, a notification through the system that they're going to dismiss their case. They may not ever even know if they don't get notified. So
I'll get notified of that. So I'm saying the data request system is a whole different than like a case filing, where if a commission or a judge is issuing an order in the case, that should go to all of the parties in the case.
oh, is there any way you can check on that and follow up with me? Because I think that all legal filings have to go to all parties. I could be wrong, but if that's one of the things I'm trying to find out for sure through verifiable policy.
If it's a legal filing, yes, but a data request is not a legal filing.
But is a discovery a legal filing?
No, I mean, I use the word filing. When you think about it, you're actually submitting it to the commission itself to see, whereas a discovery request sent by the staff to a company, and then their response to it, that's not a filing in the case.
Right. It's a legal filing for evidence for the case.
Like I said, you can ask the company to provide all their answers. You can get all of this through a data request.
Well, what I'm suggesting is it's the responsibility of the regulatory agency to notify all parties anytime they get something. Anytime any of us get something, we're supposed to make sure everyone else has it.
I'm not aware of that as a legal requirement. If you find something suggesting that, yeah, I'm sure send it to Mr. Kleiser, but I'm not aware of that being a type of requirement that everybody needs to know what discovery everyone is sending.
That's cool. I'll look into that. And then how come you're even on the case if like when I'm trying to find the investigators, I'm trying to find.
I'm not on the case.
Well, your phone number's on here on my file.
Oh, is it? Well, I'm the head of the office, and so maybe it's just ended up on there somehow. Anyway, I know what it was actually. I initially usually take all the complaint cases, but this one I assigned to Mr. Kaiser because I know he had spoken with you before about it.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and assigned it to him because he was already familiar with the case. So that's, I think me being on there was just kind of a remnant of me initially getting assigned to it, but I don't really know anything about the case.
Oh, okay. Well, what happened was, just real briefly, Spire's attorney sent me. You don't think that there's a violation, like that there's laws against accidentally transferring somebody's, confidential information, and there's not laws that say we've got to put fines on that. We can't just call it a one-off. That's not how it works.
I've not looked into that. But,
could you please?
I would think. Well, no, I don't think that's an issue. I think if the person who, their data was released has an issue with it, then maybe they have a claim. But I don't think that, that's anything that, you or I would have a claim about. I guess maybe I could, but I don't think that's anything that impacts you.
Well, it dropped the confidential.
It is just a one-off.
Well, it dropped the confidentiality breach into my lap, and so they asked me to destroy the evidence, and this is all on public file through your guys' system. And so I'm asking, no, not you.
Raise this as an issue in your case. So, I mean,
Oh yeah, I did.
It's nothing that I think we're concerned with because this doesn't usually happen. It does seem like a one-off. But if you want to raise it and run with it, go for it. I don't know if we will agree with you because, again, it's nothing we've seen a pattern of this happening. This is the first time I'm aware of it ever happening. So it's nothing. I mean, we're a very small office. We've got limited resources to address a lot of issues, a lot of cases.
That's what I read.
Really fine-tune what we do to bigger issues that are real impactful. And so unless we don't, unless we see some kind of ongoing problem with this, it's nothing that we really have the resources to really dig into.
But your guys' job isn't based on amount of calls. It's about following the law, even if it's a one-off, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, we are to represent the public in cases, and so we have the authority to look at all the issues that come before us and pick and choose the ones that we think are the most impactful to the people and pursue those. What I'm saying to you is this is not one, what you're saying, that they made a mistake. I don't even know how it happened, but that they made this mistake. They vote up to it. They've notified the person whose data
Well, it's the fact that it happened that has to be addressed.
And I can tell you that, I mean, even if we spent a bunch of time running this down and pursuing it, my impression the commission would look at it as a one-off too, and say, this is something, like what I'm saying here, is something that we certainly will monitor. We see it happening on a regular basis, but, a simple mistake is nothing that I would think they would penalize this company over or anything,
Right.
unless they started to show a pattern of it.
Well, what if I'm finding patterns of like multiple discrepancies? And like, you don't think that concealing it from the I don't understand how you don't understand this. The files they sent me were related to the other investigation that the other party has.
I'd actually encourage you to speak with Mr. Close more about this, because I don't know anything about this case.
Oh, gotcha.
So I'm just trying to answer your questions, but yeah, I would have to do a deep dive into the case to really understand what you're talking about.
Well, I would.
He's assigned to it. He understands it, so I would talk to him about it if you've got other questions.
Sure, but he's aware of it.
Yes, he did. He did let me know about it. I mean, it certainly was a concern of him to let me know. Is the kind of thing that we could keep an eye on, but not anything that really we should spend resources digging into unless we see it as a bigger problem.
Gotcha. Hey, do you have a good number for the PSC by chance? That's someone I would talk to as the already having a formal complaint.
Well, I mean, I can give you their general number. I don't know who.
You know what this reminds me of, Mark? It reminds me of dealing with my wife. She does a million different things, and then she's just sorry for each one, and I'm supposed to just turn my head. You know what I mean? And for my wife, that's one thing, but when I'm doing business with professionals and regulatory agencies, they got to be accountable for every single thing.
Well, I'll tell you this, always, we do not turn our heads on anything. We bring hundreds of millions of dollars of savings to people every year, and we fight hard for the people, but we have to push for issues that are going to be impactful.
Well, what I'm telling you is,
stuff like this is not really impactful to the public generally. But here, I can give you a number. Let me give you the main.
what I'm telling you, Mark, is they gave out a customer social security numbers, credit card numbers with the expiration dates and the 3-digit pins, their addresses, and all their account information. You can't say that that isn't something that you legally have to look into. This is when you guys.
I have the legal obligation to look at anything other than what we determine is in the public interest to pursue. And I would not turn a blind eye to something if I thought this was a systemic problem that is, harming people. We would certainly not turn our back on it. We would dig into it deep and hold the company accountable to it.
Well, but you can admit that the harm is done whether it's intentional or not, right?
Well, I mean, I don't know if there's been harm done. It depends on what you're going to use. If you're going to use those things, I mean, if not, then there's probably no harm.
Just the breach itself, just not them. They're not allowed to do that and just have a regulatory agency turn their head. That's not how it works. That's why I've reported it to the Attorney General and multiple other agencies. That's why I'm going through this whole process, is so you guys don't have the option of just saying, well, it was a one-off. And you end up with a string of evidence. And
We don't have any obligation to participate in your case at all. The commission does. But we do monitor complaints to see if some bigger issues come up, but there's no obligation in our office to participate at all. But yeah, if you want to push it bigger, then I would bring it to the commission and raise it with them.
is the commission
Number for them?
yeah, is the commission like is the PSC the same thing as the commission?
Yeah, they are separate agencies. They are the actual, agency that can regulate and tell the companies what to do and whatnot. We don't have that authority. We are just an advocate for the public interest.
But only if happens more than once. So if there's a major security breach, well, if it's a one-off.
Well, we just, I mean, the statute that gives us our authority is just more general. It's, whatever we determine is in the public interest, that's what our duty is to pursue that. So we look at every issue that comes up, someone brings to us, and we can't pursue all of them. We have to find the ones that are more impactful. And so that's our duty, that's what we do, and we're good at it.
Do you have? I guess you got your
Part of being good at it is not running down,
right. dead ends, of
doing
course.
things that aren't gonna, are dead ends, and things that I think the commission frowns upon us when we do run these dead ends and push things that really are not that impactful on the public generally, if it is like a one-off. I think it makes us look bad if we're pursuing things like that.
Right. Well, yeah, no.
You know, because our goal isn't to make the company look bad. Our goal is to bring meaningful benefits to people. And if it's just one mistake that's not going to happen again, I don't see what benefit it would be.
Well,
And if the individual whose data was released, if they want to pursue something, then that's up to them. But if you don't have an issue with it, I would anticipate it's going to go away unless you're going to bring it up and raise it in your case.
I have.
Yeah, and I don't know how it's relevant to what your complaint is, but
It shows that Mark. It shows the bad faith. It shows the bad faith of the other 3 to 5 to 10 things that are one-offs, and now we're doing even more, another 5 to 10 things. At what point do you guys consider what number to be systemic? That's something that, just between you and me, I need a number so that I can know that at some point, surely a number is going to trigger a systemic procedure or assumption of a system.
I don't have a number for you. It's not a number basis. It's the merits of the claims, and so that's what's going to determine what we do and how we address any case that comes before the commission.
Okay, well, I appreciate it. Yeah, what number you got for me? Sorry for all the questions. I'm just a regular guy.
No, you're good. No, you're good. I get it. Most people don't understand that stuff at all. So, we try to answer questions as we can, but here's the toll free. It's their main line. It's 1-800-392-4211.
4211. We just assume that the regulatory agencies are going to fight these battles for us. But when we get in these situations, we realize that they make us fight them ourselves.
For individual compliance, that is how the statutes, how the rules, how it's all laid out.
Mark, I appreciate your time, buddy.
You have this process, yeah. All right, well, good luck to you.
Hey, thanks. Bye. Hey, this is John.
Hey, Mr. Miller, this is Mark Johnson, Missouri Public Service Commission. Just returning your call.
How's it going, my friend?
Going okay. How are you doing?
Man, I tell you, I'm not really having the best time. I'm having a heck of a time with this investigation, and it feels like some weird show I'm on where they won't give you a number on what systemic means and how many mistakes big businesses can make before the commission will stop turning their head and ignoring all my filings.
Okay, so what specifically are you referring to? I know you do have a complaint regarding maybe replaced on budget billing improperly
Right.
or apparently inadvertently.
Yeah, I don't like the terminology that avoids accountability, first of all. Okay? If we can just call facts what they are. If you lost something, you lost something. You didn't inadvertently misplace it, you lost it. I don't like to play the legal jargon. That to me is a huge issue. What is your position there?
As whether or not they place you on budget billing.
Oh no, I'm just curious. I didn't catch your title. You're
My position with the Public Service Commission.
yes, sir.
I'm sorry. I'm the Chief Staff Counsel.
Awesome. Does that make you up at the top?
Well, I manage a team of attorneys that practice before the commission. I represent the staff of the commission, which is an independent body of
Awesome.
subject matter experts that audit the actions and books of the utilities we regulate.
Well, that's awesome because are you familiar with my case? Did you get a chance to check the overview on it?
I'm somewhat familiar with it. Like I said, my understanding is that you were placed on budget billing without requesting to do so. And then I understand there may have been an inadvertent disclosure of some confidential information. But have I reviewed every piece of
Oh yeah, no, I know it's
information in your file?
it's quite extensive. I get it. I want my wife to read it, but it's too much. I get it. Ugh. It's just every time I see something, I'm filing on it. I'm not letting a one-off slip off. the fact that they're making me litigate this as my own lawyer basically means if you accidentally do something, it's not an accident, it's a legal violation. Okay? And so that's where I'm at. And I just got off the phone with another Mark. He's with the OPC, and that's what just keeps. I get that you guys have to work together, and you're their legal counsel, but I'm my own legal counsel, but not because I want to be. You guys went to college to do that because it's what you wanted to do. I'm doing it because I was forced into doing it, right? So it matters to me that the PSC follows the regulatory proceedings, the laws, any ethical or any type of administrative implications. That's why I said what I said at the beginning. So I'm calling to try to figure out what is going on with the circus of this case and why I'm running into all these regulatory issues. I have some major issues with timing, legalities, with regard to all legal filings. I just had the OPC tell me that the data requests are not legal filings. They're not.
The data requests are discovery, so it requests for information from another party in the case.
It's part of the legal proceedings, ain't it?
It is part of the legal proceedings, yes, but it is a tool that parties to cases can acquire information to use for their case.
Right. I appreciate, and you'll have to kind of coach me through this to make sure I'm on point. But in discoveries, all parties, any data request, all parties have a right to have that information at the same time, right?
Well, when you request information from a party before the commission, they have 20 days by which they have to respond to it. Before that, they do have an opportunity to object to your request if there are legal bases for objection, whether that would be the information's privilege, whether it is subject to attorney-client privilege, or if there's some other reason legally they would not have to provide it to you. They can raise those objections within 10 days of receipt of that request. But otherwise, if it is information that is otherwise not objectionable, they do need to provide it to you within that 20-day window, unless they have requested an extension of time on the provision of that information.
Awesome. So just on that note, the EFIS system is not notifying the primary plaintiff of the DR responses. And so because it's a discovery and it's part of a legal proceeding and it's supposed to go out to all parties in the event that it's not covered under one of those other circumstances, they sent these requests. In the request, it states how they sent my evidence to the PSC off the platform through a third party called Kiteworks. And because I didn't get an email from the data request response, I didn't get in there and see that for like 2 or 3 weeks. And so they had given the information to the PSC, but they hadn't given it to me equally. And so that's one of my concerns. One of them is that they hid it from me and that they're not giving it to me equally without having a situation where they're, obligated or objecting. They just said they didn't say it wasn't because it was confidential, it was because of the file size. And so, being that that's the case, I should have gotten it equally, just like you just said, and I appreciate you saying that. And so, that's why I'm bringing these things to the forefront, every little detail, so when we do these proceedings, we don't have to come back and say, oh, you know what, we messed up. Oh, that was a one-off.
Hold on for 1 second. Wait, Mr. Miller, are you talking about information that the staff of the commission has requested from the utility, or is this a request that you made to the utility?
It's a request that the staff made through EFIS.
Okay.
So that's where they responded, and you're right, it was like 20 days. And they responded real fast. But they didn't include me on handing out the evidence. And I understand, and that's what OPC was saying, I have to make that request. But if I don't get notified for...
You need to make that request, sir. So,
if you could hear me out, if I don't get a notification that they've responded, it's not my job to babysit the website. Now, if I get a notification that a data request response has come through, then I can get on there and say, oh, someone's done something, I need to look at it. And so what happens is it makes an unfair proceeding in a regulatory, investigation.
Well, this would be information that the staff has requested. The utility does have the obligation to provide that to the staff. It does not have the obligation to provide it to all parties. Now, I'm not entirely sure. There may be an automated alert that is generated for responses, but it may not go to parties other than the requesting party.
That's
You do have the ability to request that information from the utility.
well, what I was obviously going to do as a non-lawyer was going to let PSC do the investigation and then get whatever evidence I need from that. And then if there was something that I wasn't already making a claim of, but now every time I either talk to these people or you guys do or they send another data request response, there's evidence about how they've done something wrong, and then they've filed something formally, publicly admitting to this and that and everything. And it's just like, how is nobody paying attention to this as a systemic issue? And so that's why I'm looking for a number on, there are laws in place when, if I break the law, if I speed and get caught, I get a ticket. If the regulatory proceedings aren't followed and it's a law with a fine that goes with it, and you get caught, you don't get to just slap somebody's wrist, you have to pay the fine. And so, you know what I mean? It's my understanding all proceedings are, like you just said, all of those responses. So which is it? Did you say they're supposed to go to everybody or they're not supposed to go to everybody? I'm confused.
They do not have to provide the responses to every party in the case. They are obligated to send them to the party that requested the information.
So that's a regulatory policy I'm trying to change for obvious reasons.
Well, it's a legal process.
Oh, right.
Parties are responsible for making their own cases and issuing their own discovery.
Yeah, that's not how I understand.
Responses that they provided to us, but that would need to be a request that you make to the utility.
Well, I should be able to see, if you guys put a request on the system that you gave me access to, I should definitely see their responses. Shouldn't I? I should definitely be notified of that, shouldn't I?
I'm not entirely sure what our system does. I do not know off the top of my head if outside parties can view the response and send to staff.
But I'm the primary plaintiff. I'm not an outside party.
Yeah, but this is information requested by the staff.
Right. But we're all part of the same case.
Proceeding that you have initiated, the staff is a party. The staff is conducting this investigation. Part of that is asking for information from Spire, and they have the obligation to provide it to us.
Right.
You are also a party to this matter, and you have the ability to request information from the utility, but they do not have the obligation to send the responses. It is provided to staff to you unless you ask for it.
No, that's not what I'm asking for. I can get on here and see their responses. I'm asking for a notification so that I know to look.
Well, I don't have our rules set up right in front of me. I can't give you an answer right now if they're obligated to send you a notification or not. Outside of some requirement that they provide you that notice, they may not necessarily need to. I don't have my rules memorized right now.
No, and you're fine. What I looked up said that as a party, I was all discoveries or all parties are allowed to have it at equal timing and at the exact same time. Everybody's supposed to get it at the same time. There shouldn't be no delay, or you know what I mean. And that,
They didn't provide you a notification that they responded to one of our DRs.
right, which put us at like 2 weeks before the ruling date, and I'm just now seeing it, and now that could lead me to another 3 weeks of research or whatever, you know.
Okay, well, I will tell you this, sir. The complaint that you filed has initiated a proceeding, which, as part of that, the staff is required to investigate and it will issue a report.
Right.
When that report is issued,
Oh, really?
If you wanted. Yeah.
And that's what I was wondering. I filed for a motion, like all this stuff happens as soon as I notice something, I file something, and then I don't hear anything. I'm not hearing anything from the council, the investigators. I'm not hearing anything from anybody. For some reason, it's like dead silent.
Well, the proceeding is based upon your initial complaint, right? Your additional filings, the commission may or may not rule upon those. What I would guess is they're waiting for the staff to file its report, and then after that, they will probably set up what we call a procedural conference to figure out what the parties want to do moving forward in the case.
Oh, I thought it was a ruling finding. Or that's what I read for the 31st. They've set up for a ruling finding on August 31st. And so that's why I'm like, hey, you better make sure you have all my evidence. I don't really understand how this whole thing works. I'm just a regular guy.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to...
Just to let you know, Mr. Miller, I do have another attorney in the office just listening on the call, and he's going to help me pull up your case file.
That would be great, dude, because you would be able to see all the stuff that I'm claiming and why it just seems so wild that there's 20 filings from an individual regular dude, yet it's not systemic. Unless the stuff I'm reading on the internet's totally wrong, which it could be, then it's telling me that, they can't just get away with all this stuff.
Alright, so I see a notice of complaint and order directing an answer from the commission. Is there anything else the commission's?
They first, and that's the other thing, the PSC sent them like 13 data requests. They sent answers back. I'm assuming they didn't really like their answers and they wanted to dig deeper, and so they sent them 8 more or 9 more data requests. And it was only because I saw the data requests. I'm getting the notifications every time the PSC will file something that's relevant. But then I don't get anything once they send it back, like, hey, check it out. Here's something you need to pay attention to as a party to this case. Somebody sent back something for a request that we sent. So it makes no sense that I would get the notification of them sending the request but not getting the return, the response, because that's where their information is. And that's the evidence I need to.
I understand, yeah.
So, otherwise I'm shooting blanks in the dark. And then, so that's all they filed first, and then Spire filed the entry of appearance in the beginning. Was their 3 lawyers, and it's 3 lawyers from a big company against 1 regular construction worker. So it's really not fair in the first place, just between you and me.
Well, Mr. Miller, I'm not at this point sure about what type of notification is sent by our EFA system, but I do know that it does send you notifications when a DR is issued.
Correct.
And so that should provide you notice that within 20 days of that notification, there will be a response filed within EFIS.
Well, and as you can see, now I can appreciate that. Obviously, I've got a heads up now, but to bird dog it. But when they set their second set of requests, that's when I actually was like, oh, interesting. They've responded to the first set. You know what I mean? And then I had to go through there and look through all that. So I just think that the system, I'm definitely going to recommend that that they update that technical part of it. I think it would be helpful if we're caring about helping the people do their job of fighting their own battles, and not just letting it fall off by default because people weren't notified of and if you could check out and see if it is a legal proceeding and it is a legal filing and it is with regard to discovery and all parties are entitled that, then I don't see why the system isn't set up to actually, do that. So if you could check on that, that would be awesome.
I can do that.
What else do you see? You got the crystal ball?
I do not have a crystal ball, unfortunately.
I'm messing with you. But you're looking at my long list there. And then the only other thing that was filed, but that was the only thing that was filed, was an entry of appearance by Spire at the beginning, their lawyers, and then the commission said, hey, we want this information. This guy's claiming a lot of stuff. and then they responded, and then they sent more, and then I blasted them because they sent me another investigation's files, all their confidential information, like straight up, just boom. Legal, Spire's legal counsel dragged and dropped. You just can't call it a drag and drop mistake, even if it's a drag and drop mistake. You can call it that, but it's still a breach. It's a violation of federal law.
I am seeing on the case file, Spire did file an answer to your complaint just on Tuesday of this week.
Correct.
Because of the 12th.
And you know what's crazy? So they filed something on my case, and hello to your other friend there, by the way. They filed something on my case, was like, oh, oops, but had I not told them, they wouldn't have done that. You know what I mean? They would have never known that they breached my case. They breached their own case. And that's a breach against Spire. That's against, that's a legal confidentiality between the lawyer and the utility company, but also Spire and their other customer who has a PSC investigation that's active. And so I'm just like, there's no way that they just did this. And then they give you a zipped file. I at the time I didn't notice it. I thought they were my files because it said DR2, and it happened to be the DR2 request, but from the wrong case. And so I start going through this stuff, and it's somebody else's recorded phone call. It wasn't even my stuff. And that's when I discovered this is evidence. This is evidence. This isn't something we can call a one-off when it's evidence, is it?
Well, I can tell you this, from time to time, in legal proceedings when you're dealing with discovery, there are instances where parties inadvertently disclose incorrect information. We call that inadvertent disclosure of confidential information. And sometimes it's work product of an attorney as opposed to confidential information of a participant. Sometimes it's work product. But in those instances,
Somebody got to pay.
that information, they do have a duty if they wanted to maintain a privilege, they need to disclose the fact that was inadvertently shared and provide some remedy.
And they did.
The information or destroy it or what have you.
Well, and that's the thing. It's evidence. So you can't ask somebody, I'm a part of a legal proceeding. As a primary plaintiff, you can't ask me to destroy evidence. There's laws against that.
They certainly can if they have.
You might check.
If a privilege exists, that would say that they
It's
otherwise would not need to provide that information to you or should provide that information to you.
which I'm not the lawyer expert, you are, but I've read something called spoliation, and they're just not allowed to do it. You're just not allowed to. But with regard to what you said, so they've made a file. They said, yeah, we had a breach. We're going to contact the other person. But yeah, it only went to you. It was a drag and drop. But you have to have a full investigation on that type of a breach. You can't just call the one-off without the investigation. You have to be sure that I'm the only one that was sent to. You got to check their whole system, and you have to make sure that whole system has a full audit. It's like automatic. Because I got their social security numbers, their bank cards, their addresses, all their account information. You can't, and that's the thing. I'm now a victim by them giving it to me, just as much as the people who had their information breached. Because now I'm a key witness. And trust me, I don't want to be, but this is the law. Could you tell me more about the spoliation thing?
Well, spoliation is a legal doctrine having to do with the destruction of evidence.
Well, that's what we just said, isn't it?
I'll try to answer your question, sir.
Go ahead, sorry.
It's a legal doctrine regarding the destruction or losing sometimes of evidence. Spoliation, the doctrine of spoliation provides that a party cannot intentionally destroy evidence, but you're not a party to this proceeding.
Which one?
And there can be penalties within the legal proceeding if evidence is found to have been spoliated.
Well, right. and so I am a part of this proceeding. And when they gave me the data breach information evidence itself to me from the other case, that put me a part of the other case and this case. So that was.
I understand that's your belief and position. I don't know that that's necessarily the accurate legal position, that makes you a party to the other case.
Well, I had to. Well, this is where it gets good. I had to notify the other judge to look at my filings because they chose to send a private. They wanted to keep it private. They didn't publicly file it on the other case. The breach of the other files are of the other case's investigation. So it is evidence to that case, and it is a breach of that customer with that group Spire. And so it does plug me. And because they didn't file publicly on the investigation of the other account and take the same accountability publicly on their end, it shows that they downplayed it on my end and they tried to conceal it from the other judge and the other party publicly. They tried to conceal it from the commission, or otherwise they would have filed it on that case because it's pertinent, because it's people's confidential information and there's laws about all this stuff.
Well, sir, I'm not aware of any requirement that would have mandated them to file something in the other proceeding. I believe you stated, and I think I read the letter they sent, that they did contact the other individual whose information was shared with you.
Yeah, my point was is that they did it publicly and downplayed it on my side, but didn't equally publicly do it on the other side, which shows bad faith. It shows that they tried to keep it quiet and only publicly take it admission and fault on my end, but they didn't want the case where the breach was directly related to. They didn't want that judge to know about it, or the commission. They thought that the cases wouldn't talk.
They contacted the other consumer, according to their filings, so they were not trying to hide it from him, and he would have been the one impacted by the disclosure of his confidential information.
Right, but the
By their own statement, they made him aware of it.
right, but they didn't tell him. Well, they didn't tell him what happened. They didn't tell him who was at fault. They just said his confidential information had been breached or something. And so that's an issue that in either case, I don't know why we're not addressing opening an investigation on why they're asking me to destroy evidence of a security breach, a confidential breach.
They're asking you to destroy or otherwise return that information that you should not be privy to.
Right.
By their words, it was an accidental disclosure.
Yeah, and
You should not have access to that information. They are asking you to not have access.
Right, yeah, no, I get it. But unfortunately, I'm not compelled by an obligation or confidentiality to their mess up. You know what I mean? That's their client privilege. That's not me. I'm just the person that received the collateral damage, which makes me a key witness. Is that not accurate?
Well, I can tell you this. If I was litigating a case where another party inadvertently disclosed privileged information to me, notified me timely, and asked for its return or destruction, I would need to do that. I would need to return that information. And if I didn't, I think a judge would have a big issue with it.
Oh, not those judges. They like to turn their heads. So do the PSC investigators.
Well, looking at the docket entries, just it looks like maybe yesterday you submitted to the commission a request for investigation, correct?
That's absolutely right. Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's what I was wondering. I'm asking them to.
It's still to the commission, not us, not counsel. We're counsel for the staff. That's the engineers.
Oh, really?
And so,
Well, you're probably the wrong department.
advising the commission. So you've made a request to the commission, and the commission
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I keep getting them saying, basically making excuses of why they don't want to. And even it's kind of like a common policy. I get that we want to just work together, and if we can solve as few problems as possible without issues, that would be great. But if a customer wouldn't be calling in and having an investigation and a formal complaint if there was no problems, right?
Well, I think what my colleague said is where we are. You made that motion, requested an investigation. Pursuant to our rules, the other parties in the case have 10 business days time to respond to that filing.
Gotcha.
We'll
But
see if anybody does or not. But then after that, the commission can choose to take up your motion, grant it, deny it, or something differently.
yeah, I was wondering if they have 10 days also.
The commission,
Yeah, or do they just get to collect all my filings for a month and then have a day of ruling? Is there's no court hearing?
the
There's
commission does not have any obligation to rule on individual motions within a certain amount of time.
gotcha.
With regard to your complaint, our rules do prescribe that there's a target date that by which the commission should rule. I can't remember offhand what that time period is. However, they also have the ability to extend that time frame if necessary.
Well, I asked for a motion for a continuance.
If you allow me, I'll give you what I think is most likely to happen timeline-wise in this case.
Sure.
I think what will happen is the commission is going to want to see the report filed by its staff, which I cannot remember the date offhand when that is, but staff will file a report on the due date. Or perhaps if it needs an extension, it will do it. But either way, staff will file an investigation report on your case. Spire and you will have the opportunity to respond to it. Well, in our rule has time to after any responses to staff's filing are made, the commission will determine what needs to happen further. And typically, they will order the parties to get together, something called a procedural conference, where we can talk about the next steps for the case. That may be the filing of information. That could be just setting a hearing date where you can go before the commission and provide your case to them.
Okay.
And then at some point after that, the commission will rule on your complaint.
So they won't just collect all this and make a ruling without ever talking to me or anything. That's cool.
No, they will not. You will have the opportunity to hold a commission before the commission, or excuse me, to hold a hearing before the commission.
And I do apologize. You guys just happen to be who they've got under the certified people that are on this case. So I was just trying to find somebody with the PSC, and they gave me Mark Poston. He's with the OPC, and then you guys are the says Department Staff Council. So it's the only ones with phone numbers on here for me to call. Well, that's not a main number, you know.
Well, yep, I understand.
But have you guys seen this case at all come through your anything? The other guy said he had seen it. Kleiser has been notified and all this stuff. It seems to me like you guys don't see the bigger picture here. I mean, you're supposed to be on my team, not the bigger. You're on the commission's team, but the commission's team is the people's team, and the big company is the big company's team. We're at two opposite corners in this ring.
So we are not on anyone's side, sir. We are a kind of a neutral third party. We
Oh.
review the cases to determine whether or not, in a complaint case, whether or not the utility has violated any statutes, rules, commission orders, or tariffs.
But you represent
However, the staff's role is to serve as an unbiased entity to review the conduct of the utility. We're not a representative or an advocate for the public. We're not a representative or an advocate for the utility. We kind of look at the interest of the public in whole. We're just not a consumer advocate.
not a consumer advocate. It's a regulatory agency in charge of regulating the stuff out and affects the customers.
Right, we are one arm of the commission. And as I said, we are
Who's the other arm? The OPC?
the OPC is the consumer advocate.
Oh.
So yes, they are representing the people.
Oh, okay. Well, so what do you guys do then at PSC?
Well, we kind of serve as a, like I said, an unbiased independent entity that audits the actions in the bookkeeping of the utility.
Is
And what we do is through case proceedings, we provide testimony and advice to the commission. The commission can take it or leave it. And they will make the ultimate decision in every case.
Gotcha. Would you say the percentage of one-offs where we just close cases versus open them and expand them into bigger ones was lower or higher? Are we turning more people to these cases away, or are we solving more of them?
Well, every case that's filed before the commission is resolved in some way. That is either the case is pulled, the case is settled, or the commission issues a determination on the case.
Fair
As
enough.
far as consumer complaints, like the one you filed, my experience, they either go to hearing or they get settled.
Right on. Is there anything else that stands out to you about anything you can see that I should be aware of or mindful of or anything like that?
Not in this instance.
They won't reach out and call. I had Lisa, the Stackman, she called me initially and said, hey, I'm the investigator, I'll be on this case, but then I haven't heard from anybody ever since.
Okay.
And so I'm not sure if I'm supposed to hear from anybody or not.
Well, in the course of staff investigation, they may reach out to you again, they may not. It depends on the facts they discover and what they think they need to do.
Gotcha. Well, guys, I appreciate your time. Sorry to be such a pain in the butt. I'm just trying to navigate this system, and I'm not really a lawyer, so.
Understood. No problem, sir.
All right, hey.
Good luck to you.
All right, thanks. You too. Bye.